Hello friends, welcome back. John Does Crew, week 5, science building. I'm really excited for this crew. The science building is probably the building I spend the least amount of time in on campus. Other than science classes and one residence, there's not a lot that happens in that building. So I'm excited to spend some time in there in general. And to get to know, I haven't done a lot of classroom crews, so I'm curious what's gonna happen in a classroom setting. So I'll just say mopping from now until forever. But I also think there's going to be probably some trash removal and maybe some organizing. I know there's an ongoing project in the basement that the science building crew has been working on, so maybe we'll find out about that. Anyway, we're gonna go head over, meet Crystalline, and see what I'll be doing today. Join us. Sorry I'm a few minutes late. I'm here to crew. What are we doing here?
So part of besides the basic okay, we're going to sweep, mop, make sure we take out the trash. What science building crew has been doing is organizing this huge, a mass of random rocks that we have.
Oh wow.
And so basically figuring out what can be used to teach or display, and then also just naming them because it's useful to have.
That's super cool.
And so I have set up so these are sets that have been identified already.
Okay.
So this should help along with this rock guide and this rock guide. It's hard.
Okay.
And it's a lot of comparing and stuff, but
okay.
And then you're using these. You're gonna try your best to identify all of these. Not all of them, you won't, but as many as you can. And so how I'm gonna have you do it is when you do, place a rock, name it, and so I have examples.
So just like that.
Yep.
So this is a great example of, on crew, there's 2 different kinds of tasks that can be assigned, right? There's daily tasks, mopping, sweeping, trash, recycling, cleaning up surfaces. They need to happen every single day or else class can't happen. But there's also these ongoing projects that need to also get done, and they're the kind of things that never seem important enough to rise to urgency. But if we don't do them, then they never get done. So that's where an extra pair of hands can come in and identify some rocks. I did not see this coming. Let's see how many I can get done. So one of the challenges here is that a lot of rocks look very similar, and so is there a way to tell what something is that's not just visual identification? So you were saying.
Right, yeah, so basically this, some people can think that this is quartz or something like that. A big clue is sort of what it looks like, right? It's like an icicle or a stalagmite, or tite is the one that...
Tites are on top and mites are mounds.
Yes, so it sort of tells me, as somebody who's familiar with geology, that it's probably limestone, but to double check that and make sure is using a little bit of dilute hydrochloric acid, and if it fizzes or bubbles, then it is limestone, because it's reacting with the calcium carbonate.
Oh, wow.
So that's because of the calcium carbonate in this substance, and it bubbles a little bit, so then we're
There's
all right.
a little bit of steam or smoke or something. So what's interesting about this task is that with things like mopping the gym floor, it's big, but there's a beginning and an end, and it's a straightforward progress the whole time. Something like this is a hunt. Something like this, it's not necessarily black and white, sometimes it's gold. The end result of putting all these rocks together and classifying them and being able to identify them is that we can ultimately put a display up in the science building that could be used in class, that could be looked over by students to see real examples of these different rocks, minerals, and various samples. So it's work that in the short term you don't see the end result, but someday you come back, you visit, you go in the science building, and there is this wonderful display that each crew member contributed a little bit to over the course of a year, 2 years, maybe a decade or more, I don't know. There's a lot of rocks there that need to get sorted. Okay, week 5, science building. What are my thoughts? What a lot of fun. So it's easy work. in the sense that it's not physically challenging, but it is mentally challenging work, and that you have to really pay attention to detail and try to coordinate it in the book. I don't know if that's an accurate representation of what crew is like on a regular basis in the science building, but for today, I'm going to give the science building a 4. Now, just a reminder, because I think people might be confused about the scale that I'm giving, it's level of difficulty. It's how challenging is the crew. And while I think this one is challenging in terms of it's hard to identify which rock is which, it's a lot of fun too, and it's not very physically demanding. So I'm sticking with a 4. I'm going with that. Put your comments in below. If you think that intellectually challenging should be rated higher, well, tell me what score you think I should have given it. While I have you here, I just want to say thank you to everyone who this past Giving Tuesday joined our donor crew. It was fantastic to see all of this support for Scattergood, and it made us feel really appreciated, and that we're not just here doing crew by ourselves, that there are those of you out there who are doing crew right alongside us. So thank you so much for that. Now action. All right, what crew will I be joining next? It will be upside down. Instruction building. I will be joining the instruction building this week. There we go.